Hello and welcome to English and More. I am Shweta Roy and I am your English teacher, back with yet another amazing session on The Portrait of a Lady by Khushwant Singh. It is a beautiful and heart-touching chapter which will make you think and recollect your memories with your grandparents. Now, looking at the title, you see The Portrait of a Lady. So definitely this is going to talk about a lady and describe the lady, right? Now this lady is none other than the author's own grandmother. So as I told you, this particular lesson will help you think back about your grandmother and recollect all the beautiful and wonderful memories, make you cherish all those memories and develop a close bond with your grandparents, right? So, if you remember, we had done a poem by Shirley Tulston, which was titled as "The Photograph." Now, if you remember the theme of that particular poem, that also talked about a lady, which was the poet's mother, and the fond memories associated with her mother captured in the photograph. Now, this lesson has also thematic similarity, and that is exactly the reason why they are placed one after another, right? Okay, now talking about Khushwant Singh, he was an Indian author, lawyer, diplomat, journalist and politician. His very famous novel was related to partition of India, because he was writing at that point of time and he had his first hand experience of the partition in 1947. So Train to Pakistan is the novel that is based on the partition of India, and it is also adapted into a film in the year 1998. Now, he is best known for his secularism, humor and sarcasm, and his love for poetry. His comparison of social and behavioral characteristics of Westerners and Indians, which we will find in this particular lesson also. Now, please note that he had returned the Padma Bhushan Award, which he had received in the year 1974 as a protest against Operation Blue Star, which was done by, yes, Indira Gandhi, right? And he was awarded the Padma Vibhushan, which was the second highest civilian award in India. Now, talking about his contributions in the literary genre, he had contributed to stories, novels, essays, both fiction as well as non-fiction. And the first novel was The Mark of Vishnu and Other Stories in the year 1950. And his most widely acclaimed novel is, as I told you, Train to Pakistan. And you should definitely read the novel. If not the novel, please watch the movie, because that is going to give you a lot of information about the partition history, right? Now, in addition to his novels, he has also written a lot of short stories. His collections are his short stories. One of his famous one is I Shall Not Hear the Nightingale, and this particular short story which we will be reading right now. Now, his short stories delves often with human relationship. Here also we will find the same thing. Societal norms, here also we will find the same thing, and the challenges faced by individuals in the changing landscape of post-independence India. This is very important. Please note this line. This is there in this particular lesson which we will start. Now, before starting off the lesson, as I told you that this lesson is about the author's grandmother, I want you all to think and imagine your grandmothers right now in your mind and see what kind of image comes up. Please give me few words in the comment section about your grandmother. When you think about your grandmother, when you imagine, what kind of picture comes in your mind? Her appearance, her physical appearance, her personality traits, everything. And let us see whether that image matches with what Khushwant Singh describes about his grandmother. Please keep your textbooks with you all so that we can have a better discussion about this chapter. Now, this particular story begins with the description of the author's grandmother, a beautiful yet earthly picture of Singh's grandmother has been painted in this particular story, and what kind of bond does the author share with his grandmother, how it has changed over the years. This will help you also to analyze your relationship with your grandmother and whether it has undergone changes. Remember, when you were a child, maybe you were more close to your grandmother, and as and when we all grow up, due to several circumstances, we start distancing ourselves, right? Knowingly, unknowingly, consciously, unconsciously, there has been a distance over the years with our grandparents. How can we bridge the gap? It is maybe because of generation gap or due to the other reasons. So how can we bridge the gap? We will see that after we go through the story, and we will definitely cherish our relationship with our grandmother, and revisit our memories, our fond memories with our grandparents, right? So Singh's grandmother has always been shown chanting prayers, praying rosary, or feeding the animals. These are very, very important because this highlights her spiritual nature and her caring nature, right? And Singh mentions about his relationship between between him and the grandmother in 3 phases. The first phase is during his childhood. During his childhood, he was left under the care of his grandmother when his parents had moved to another city. So what kind of relationship did they share? Very, very close bond. So if you are one of those children who have grown with your grandmother during the during your formative years, then definitely you can reconnect. You can connect with this particular chapter. So he talks of her grandmother. He paints her picture, a very vivid picture of her grandmother, in the very first few lines of the book, where he describes the grandmother as having a crisscross of wrinkles all around her, dressed in white, hovering around the house, and with a rosary in her hand, and always chanting prayers. And the author describes how she has been eternally old. He cannot imagine his grandmother as a young and pretty lady. Rather, he imagines her as an old and beautiful woman, a very spiritual woman. And the spotless white attire that she wears, the traditional attire that she wears, white is the symbol of purity. So her grandmother has a very holy and pure portrait. And that is the portrait that the author paints. Now, she was probably married when she was a child, because her husband was very elder looking gentleman who has passed away, and while Khushwant Singh was very young, and he remembers the grandfather only by his photograph which was hung on the wall, and he thinks of again his grandfather as only his grandfather. He could not imagine the grandparents as anything else apart from being grandparents and having lots and lots of grandchildren. He could not imagine or visualize them as parents or as partners. That is something which is very, very important, and which is hard for all of us also to imagine sometimes. And that is the reason why I asked you to imagine and visualize the picture of your grandparent and what kind of image comes in your mind. So I think you would also get a similar picture what the author is portraying, with a lot of wrinkles on the face, short, bent, and having a rosary showing the spiritual nature of the grandmother, and hovering around the house in her spotless white. She was not pretty. The author could not imagine her as a pretty lady, but she was beautiful. And her beauty is very beautifully described and compared to a winter landscape, which highlights the serenity and the calming effect that the grandmother gave to the author. I think that is within us all, right? When we are around our grandparents, we receive a calm and composed and tranquil atmosphere around them, right? So that is compared with the winter landscape, which is again filled with snow, and it gives us a very calm and composed environment. So that also can come as a question: why is the grandmother's appearance compared with that of the landscape, winter landscape? That is a very important question. Now, the author describes the relationship between both of them in 3 phases. The first phase is when the author was left under the care of the grandmother, and they used to go in a village school, and the author used to go and study the scriptures, which was taught by the alphabets, which was taught by the priest, and the grandmother used to sit next to the temple, and she used to read the scriptures. They shared a very close bond. The grandmother used to make the author get ready for school. She used to bathe her, and while bathing her, she used to chant prayers and wanted the author also to repeat the same thing, right? She gave the author chapatis, and she carried few stale chapatis. While coming back from school, she used to feed the stray dogs. This again highlights the caring and the compassionate nature of the grandmother towards the animals. Very, very important characteristic feature of the grandmother, right? Now the second phase was the turning point in their life, when this author when both of them were called back to the city where their parents lived. There the author went to an English medium school. Now in this English medium school, there were no scriptures, and the grandmother also couldn't accompany the author. The author went in a school bus. He started to learn Western science, English, and also Western music. Now grandmother could not cope up with this kind of life, so she started to grow far apart from the author gradually. Although they shared the same room, but they stopped talking too much, as they used to talk earlier. The grandmother also disapproved of the Western music that was being taught, because she thought that the music was a monopoly of harlots and beggars, and it was not meant for the gentle folk. And then the third phase comes when the author goes to the university. And when he goes to the university, the common link of the friendship, which was the common room that they shared, that was also snapped, because the author had to shift to a different room of his own. He was given a personal room of his own. And then finally he went abroad for higher studies for 5 years. So that again, that was another breach in their friendship. And the grandmother, the parting scene is very beautifully described. The grandmother never showed any kind of emotion. She was very stoic at the time of parting. What she did was, she carried her rosary in her hand, and she only kissed the forehead of the grandson, and that was the moist imprint that was left, and the author considered it to be the final touch, probably final physical touch. But that was not the final physical touch, because when the author returned back, he could see the grandmother as old as she was earlier, right? She had not grown a day older, according to the grandson. And it is very strange that this time what the grandmother did, which was very unusual, and that comes as a question again: what was the unusual thing that the grandmother did? What was it? Why was it? What was uncommon? So what she did was, she collected all the women folk of the neighborhood, and she started playing the drums, and she started to sing a song to celebrate the arrival of warriors, probably because the author had arrived and she was extremely happy, right? But this again suggests that there is something which was wrong going on inside her head. Probably there was a turmoil which was happening, because that very evening she fell ill, and the doctor said it was a mild fever. However, the grandmother understood that her day was about to close, and she started preparing for her spiritual journey. And she thought that this was something, she was remorseful of the event that she had played the drum, okay, and she was so remorseful of her action that she spent her last dying breath in an endless round of rosary, praying and chanting. She stopped talking to any of her family members, because she at that point of time thought that this was just an earthly distraction. She wanted to avoid all kinds of earthly distraction, because now was her time to prepare for her spiritual journey. And she thought maybe during her last time she had sinned by not praying. She had given up praying, and that was uncommon. Instead she had played the drum. So she thought that this was perhaps giving in to her passions, which was a sin according to her, right? So that is the reason why she stopped talking, and that could again be asked as a question: why did she stop talking at the during the final moments of her life? Right. So that is how she, bid adieu to the earthly world, and she went on to a spiritual journey. And a strange incident happened during that point of time, when she used to be in the city. She could not feed the stray dogs because there were no stray dogs in the city, so she resorted to feed the sparrows. Okay. And these sparrows had grown very close to her. She used to break the breadcrumbs and give it to the sparrows, and the sparrows would come around her and would, sit on her head, on her shoulders, and she would feed them with mild rebuke sometimes. So that was the favorite pastime. You could be asked about the grandmother's favorite pastime and how did she, manage to stay alone, because she was not in very close connect with the author also, right? The author had gone abroad and they had grown distant, right? So this was her favorite pastime. She would spend hours doing that, and that was the thing that she enjoyed. And apart from that, she also used to spin. Okay. Now this these sparrows and the feeding of the sparrows in the courtyard, that would create a delicate and heartfelt touch to the story at the end, specifically because on the day when the grandmother died, these sparrows, they came near the corpse and they paid their tribute, their regard to the grandmother. What did they do? They sat quietly, making no sound. They even ignored the breadcrumbs which were given to the sparrows by the author's mother. Okay, they paid their final respects mystically to a real lady who had taken care of them, who had fed them, who had cared for them, and who had lived a holy life. And the story ends by how the grandmother's corpse was carried away, and along with the corpse, the sparrows also flew away. And the next morning, the sweeper swept away the breadcrumbs which were left untouched by the sparrows. So this again, the last scene again talks about, symbolically represents the continuation of life and the earthly duties, the mundane duties of daily life, despite the fact that somebody has passed away. So a major incident had happened, but again still life goes on. So that talks about the continuation of life. With this, the story ends. So we have a lot of thematic elements explored in this particular story. One is definitely the concept of family, how there is a clash between the protagonist, her own expectations and the expectations of the family, and of course there is a cultural divide, because the author was writing at the point of partition, and there was a lot of cultural divide because the Britishers ruled, and the Western science and music and everything was being westernized. So the Indians, they felt that, especially the traditional ones, they felt that our tradition and our culture is somehow being somehow it is gradually disappearing, right? So that is what they feared. And then we have the theme of tradition, the clash between traditional values and modern ideals. This is another very, very important thing. Gender roles and societal pressure. Now this woman was deprived of education, and that is why she couldn't cope up with the author's new schooling system, where he was taught English lessons and Western science. And definitely it portrays the challenges and conflicts that the individuals face while navigating their place in the society. A very complex nature of life of Indian society, and the universal struggle of freedom and self-actualization. The end of the story is very, very memorable, and it explores the theme of acceptance, how the author also accepts the death of the grandmother, the passing away of the grandmother, without showing much of an emotion, but definitely he is happy about the fact that he has all the good memories with the grandmother, and the grandmother has lived her life fully, and the grandmother also knows that her end has approached, and she also resigned, and she resigns and she leaves for her spiritual journey, leaving her earthly life, praying. Okay, and the author's greatest influence had been the grandmother. That is why he has written about the grandmother, and because she was the one who was there with him in his school, and how she has always influenced, made her influence, shaped her into the person that he is, right? So from a young boy to a grown man, she has always been there with him. Okay, but of course he has lived with the grandmother and without. He has also found his own independence, but he has not forgotten the sweet memories of the grandmother. The question that could be asked is, of course, a very important question is the three phases of the author's relationship and the grandmother before he left the country to study abroad. First phase is the childhood phase, when they were together, when they went to school together. Second phase is when they both moved to the city with parents, and the third phase is when he was admitted to the university. This is before the author's going abroad. Okay, this is an important question. Apart from this, the relationship of the animals and the humans, which can be reflected from the sparrows and the dog's relationship with the grandmother. Okay, and the third question that can come is, of course, the character sketch of the grandmother. So you would definitely talk about her spiritual nature, her caring nature. You will start with her physical appearance. Her physical appearance is described very beautifully just at the beginning of the lesson. So that part should come in. Apart from that, her personality traits, like how she used to care for the author, and the holy nature that she had, the spiritual nature. A lot of instances of her spirituality is mentioned throughout the text, how she always used to have the rosary. And the parting scene, please define the parting scene, when she gave a moist kiss on the author's forehead, and she would always pray. Even at that point of time, she would not show any kind of emotion. So that also shows that she was a very strong lady. She remained stoic even at the end of her life, almost when she was about to prepare for her spiritual journey, leave for the heavenly abode. She was still praying, and she considered it as sin when she stopped praying towards the end of the final moment. So she stopped talking to the to the family members, and again resorted to her praying. Okay, and then her strength of the character, that also needs to be mentioned. So these are some very, very important characteristic features of the grandmother. You could be asked to explain or justify the grandmother's spiritual nature. There are a lot of instances throughout the chapter. The holy and the spiritual nature of the grandmother has been showcased and portrayed, right? So I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and I hope this lesson gave you time to think about your grandparents, to have an association, and share the beautiful memories. So which is your favorite memory about your grandparent? Please do let me know in the comment section, so that I could read it out, and I also enjoy reading your memory with your grandparents. So please do not forget to like, share and comment on your favorite memory with your grandparents in the comment section. Till then, take care. Bye bye. We will see you again in the next session.